Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Holy smokes, do we have a good race for you this evening. It is time for the Zwift Games. If you don't know what the Zwift Games are, I will explain that in a moment. First and foremost, 6 p.m. prime time, over 300 riders. My new tactic coming out the gate on a big race like this is to always come at it out of the saddle. So that was my first thing. You kind of expect it now, these 400 or 500 watts out the gate just to hold the front group or hold the group in general. 300 riders is just get out the saddle, just turn. Don't try and work too hard while seated. That's my pro tip coming at it now. So guys, Zwift Games, if you haven't heard of it or you don't really know, it has replaced the Z Racing monthly events. So there are 5 races over the course of the next, 4 or 5 weeks. And this is the first one. So this is stage 1 of the Zwift Games. This is one of 3 sprint races. Then there is a classic, and then there is a climbing event. So there's tons going on. I absolutely love this, guys. I think it's awesome. It's such a good idea. First and foremost, the details for this race is 25 kilometers, 289 meters of climbing. This was the best of the best, or the way I see it is the best of the best Cat B riders throwing down. 311 riders. This was so hard. And not to blow smoke up my own arse, but honestly, I am very surprised, or I've kind of had a chance to reflect and see how far I have come. Now, I honestly, hands in the air, do not give a crap about this whole Cat B, Cat A enforcement. I don't care. I love that these Cat B races are just an absolute tear up. Like, you do not know what's going to happen. People are just so strong. And I go through, because guys, if chances are, if you race with me, you probably had a message from me on Strava, like sending you a link, being like, hey man, cheers for the race. Here's the YouTube, just the way I roll. But I always see all the different people that turn up to these races. Guys, I'm telling you now, there's 20-year-olds in these events. There's 65-year-olds. Like, it's insane, and you will not know that until the end of the race. It's so inspiring when I get to kind of look through and send people messages to see the range of people that are participating in these things. But whilst you're doing it, you've got no idea about that. You don't know. So a few things about the Zwift Games, guys, just to dial everyone in. You see a ton of people riding their Tron bikes. Firstly, the coolest thing about the Zwift Games, and this would probably get Cam Nichols hard, which is if you win it, you get a golden Tron bike. And as I said, Cam Nichols will give his left nut to pay someone to get him a golden Tron bike, which I think is awesome. Also, I'm presuming Cam Nichols doesn't know who the hell I am, but yeah, I would happily pay someone to get me a golden Tron bike. But also, I do think that is the biggest joke in kind of cycling sport, that he had to face the repercussions of the whole Tron bike saga. Anyway, if you win the sprint section as a elite pro, within the pro section of the Zwift Games, you get a golden Tron bike. If you win the classic, I think you get a Tron bike. If you win the climb, you get a Tron bike. That's all. That's part of the first thing. Secondly, guys, I'm going to read to you very quickly what they've written in the description for this game, which is the first sprint stage takes on 2 loops of loop-to-loop. A new course in Watopia, developed specifically for Zwift Games, starting in downtown Watopia, blah, 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 features 2 ascents of the Zwift Com, and offering plenty of opportunities for riders to attack and make a decisive impact on the race. That's exactly what we are looking for. Just the opportunity for people to change the dynamic up and to make things harder and to push the group. Not that this group needed too much more pushing, because the level of this was just so fast, and I loved it for that exact reason. But I really like the fact they have obviously put thought into making little routes or combining routes where it was rolly and little punches were needed. Now the Zwiftcom, which is coming out the other side once you've gone along the beachfront, is always going to be, anything from like a minute 30 to 2 minutes 30 hard effort. Dependent on what category you are and what race you're in. If you were going to be in this race or one of a fast Cat B races, chances are to hold the front group, you're looking at least a 2-minute effort. I'm pretty sure the guys at the front of this race went up it in about 140 at the front, maybe even quicker, 135. It was nuts. I set my own PR for this race. I actually recce'd this course on Friday, and we had a tear up with about 120 people or maybe 80 people, I can't remember. And I finished in the front group. You know, we had an awesome race, went really hard, and lo and behold, this race was like just a minute quicker. Easily a minute quicker. I did say in one of my videos the other day that, you know, what Cat B needs to do to solve the Cat B problem is to throw in some more of these races where you get people to do a big climb or a big this or a big that. And this is exactly what's happened as part of the Zwift Games. I think there's going to be a ton of people that are category enforced at the end of the Zwift Games, you know, especially after doing the last race, which is the climbing race, which is out the Zwift. You know, if we have a primetime Monday night race, 300 riders doing out to Zwift, going full gas, half the people in Cat B in this race are going to get category enforced to Cat A at the end of it, which I think is a good thing, because it moves. You know, the problem with fundamentally, people like Cat B because there's tons of people to race with. You know, the more people we can move around, then the better. So you guys, you'll see me out the saddle. It's something I've really been working on. It's something that's working for me now. I will add that, you know, when I first started Zwift racing, I didn't have the ability to sit out the saddle. I've never done a race. I've never done a race where my legs have hurt so much, but I've been able to carry on. So I feel like I'm stepping into the realms of a true cyclist now. And I feel like I'm kind of really, and also my heart rate hitting 170, 171, hopefully, there it is, 171. Holding really, I'm not saying this to try and get you guys to pick up any extra views, but honestly, find a video on my Zwift racing video on my page that I did last year that's Cat C, and watch me ride a bike for like 2 seconds. Just watch it for 2 seconds. The guy that was riding a bike back then, I just feel like a completely different rider. And I'm not saying I'm doing anything special, guys. Simply turning up on a Monday night, having a tear up, doing a bit of training, doing some riding during the week. Like, I'm not doing anything too crazy in terms of bike training. You know, I'm not like hooked up to anything. I really enjoy it. And I love turning up to these really fast races and basically getting my ass handed to me. And it's just progressing me as a cyclist to the point where I just don't really recognize who I was back then. I did a video, and I can't remember which one it was, but I did a video where, as a Cat C rider, I jumped into a Cat B race, and it was a flat race around, it's like the Richmond course or the London course, and it was dead flat. I lasted 11 minutes, and someone wrote a comment, and I was like, I think I wrote in it, like, I would never do a Cat B race with more than 50 riders, because it makes the pace too quick. Guys, I am doing a Cat B race with 300 riders going up the Zwift Com, and I'm still in the front group, and with 16, 17, you know, it goes a bit tits up a little bit later, but fundamentally, I love how hard and fast these events are. I think the Zwift Games is probably going to get a few people bumped up because it's attracting a large number of very talented, strong riders, and then we're asking them to do, you know, hard things. And I think when we do the classic race and when we do the climbing race, it's gonna effectively category enforce some people if everyone rides as hard as they are now for prolonged periods of time. Anyway, for this race specifically, I did recce this on Friday, so I kind of knew what was coming. I knew the S's were going to be tough. I knew that this side of the course, you know, it's 2 loops or a double loop. Sorry. It is a course that is made up of 2 loops. So it's basically connecting a figure 8. So you do a loop at one end, you go down the beachfront, and then you do a loop at the other end. And it's 2 laps. So there is basically a slightly easier side for the loop, which is the S's end. And then there's the Zwift Com end, which is the way harder side. I survived lap 1. And then this is me doing my best to hold the front group, which is maybe 50 riders-ish. And up until now, I am just extremely happy to still be here, guys. I'm riding economy. I'm sat at the back. I'm all back at the bus. I'm just happy to be part of it because I don't know who is pushing the pace of these things, but when I did this on Friday and set what I thought was like a really quick time, like we had a good group, fast time. My Zwift com was, I think, 1:58 for the Zwift com, and then the first time up that I took 4 seconds off that doing it this time with this group, which is just like insane to think. And again, it's one of those things where you wouldn't have been able to see it. Apologies, because obviously there's me cycling in the background that covers it up. But to be 4 seconds quicker on a race that I did on Friday and it's Monday kind of blows my mind a bit. And obviously, riding with, well, I suppose like the group is moving. The group might be a bit quicker, but obviously, I think just being spurred on to ride harder, to my detriment as well, because my legs are absolutely cooked at this point. But going back to that point where, and you can see now that there's just lots of times when it's just watt bomb after watt bomb after watt bomb, and obviously the analogy that I don't really love within cycling and triathlon is this matches, and you only have so many, which obviously plays very true. I just don't love it as an analogy. But I definitely ran out. I ran out of them come my second attempt at the Zwift Com. But circling back to that point, which is I've now got to the point where I am cycling what feels like incredibly hard, and my legs are so painful, but I'm still able to at least move, which is just there was a time when I first started riding Cat B, when that sensation would come and the group would keep moving and my legs I just wouldn't be able to turn them. So either my lactic clearance or just my ability to handle lactate has improved, or feels like it's improved anyway, or my fitness has improved, or something. Well, tons of things have improved, clearly, because I feel like a different rider. I'm really enjoying these like insanely fast Monday night races, and I am also looking forward to the next 2 sprint races, which I think starts, the second, or the stage 2 starts tomorrow. Let me throw some quick stats at you from this specific race. The first time I did loop to loop, the first lap, which is 7.7 miles, I averaged 296 watts, which is just about 3.9 watts per kg. And then my hilly com, my Zwift com, was averaging 421 watts for 1 minute 54. Now, obviously, you can see my race goes a bit to crap here. I lose the front group. I'm not worried about it. I'm not even I'm holding like just over 400 watts at the point when I get dropped. I'm not bothered by that. I think it's great. Like, it was just too much for me. I was Icarus, flying way too close to the sun. I didn't have that in me, and I knew that. And perhaps the better thing would have been to ride with the second group anyway. But this is what I like about it, is that, I was really just kind of rolling the dice of just trying to stay with this group. It would have been a massive, monumental ask to, and I am calling this video, Cat B, the best of the best. So the fact that I'm dropped off the front group, I think it's a good thing, because it gives me more to strive for. My whole point of starting this channel was just to be able to show enjoying the progression of improving. And at the end, you do see that I have picked up, I think it's like a 90-second power PR, a 2-minute power PR, and a 12-minute power PR. So, it's not just a case of enjoying racing and turning up to races and getting my ass kind of kicked every now and again and doing well every now and again. I am still improving, and this is what I'm trying to impress upon other people, is just keep turning up, keep doing these races that are so damn hard. And I'm quite proud of this a little bit. I still get out the KOM. I'm still riding, get to catch my breath a tiny bit. And then obviously I see the group coming through behind me. And I know that the fastest time up the KOM was 1:48 for our group, it seems like, anyway. The group comes from behind, and I just had to pick it up again and try and jump on these guys' wheels. And again, this is what's going to finish my race up. My second time up, the was obviously you saw how kind of it went. It was 2 minutes 40, so we're almost 50 seconds slower that time up the but it was my chance to breathe. I was asking way too much from myself in terms of trying to ride with that front group, but I was definitely I see that as a good thing. Like, I love the fact that I got to do it. Also, guys, I think for the Zwift Games that the bikes are neutralized. Like, kit is neutralized, bikes are neutralized. It doesn't actually matter what bike you are on, because everything is neutralized to the same effect in terms of aerodynamics. Obviously, the rider weight is still plays a role, but which I think is really interesting. And again, Cam Nichols is probably screwing his nut, considering that he got banned for using a bike that he didn't earn or whatever it was. But yeah, I think so. It doesn't really matter what. I think that's true. I might have to look into that bit. I might be kind of spreading a few lies here. Anyway, my stats for the race is 283 watts, which is 3.7 watts per kg. 25k, like I said, normalized to over 300 watts, so probably close to 4 watts per kg normalized. I don't have much of a sprint left in me because everything in my body was killing me. I'm still trying to give it a bit of a go. Sprinting is something that I'm still trying to work on, and it's not something that I'm actually kind of able to work too hard at if the race is just massively hard. I'm over the moon with that, guys. I really enjoyed it. It's one of my actually in terms of how difficult it was and how tough it was. Look, here we go. 2 minute power PR ish. 2 minute power PR, 12 minute power PR ish, and then I think it's a 90 second power PR, guys. Guys, I'm loving it. Thanks for sticking around. I will see you in another race soon.